before, and I think I gave you a copy too, Jennifer. Again, to figure out exactly where that piece of the parking ordinance would fit in. Would it fit in by multifamily homes, or would we put it underneath the commercial? But there is no piece in here that's quite closest is where it says hotels or motels, but tourist dwellings are not a hotel nor a motel. And interestingly enough, it's commercial property technically in a residential neighborhood or a multifamily neighborhood. So if you think of it being near the condo development and an Airbnb and a residential home, then exactly where would that, where do other communities slide it in their ordinance, I guess is the question, and I don't know where they do. Because we did specify the unit, well, specific, in this case, hypothetically, was going to have 2 parking places per dwelling. No, per unit, because they could build one large dwelling and then it would change it, so.
So you're thinking similar to around I, where it's hotel, motel, we would add our definition of tourist dwelling?
I'm thinking we'd either put it there or we go back to where it says multifamily, 1B.
It doesn't.
It doesn't fit the
No,
neighborhood here.
that's residential.
I know.
We wouldn't want to put it in there.
It doesn't affect the regulations where in the chart you put it. So it's just an ease of use thing. So whoever is building these needs to go find their parking requirements in the zoning ordinance to make sure they meet the rules right. So where's going to be easiest for them to look?
Oh,
It
right
makes
after
the most
P,
sense.
because LMNOPQRST. Think you're at home, don't you? I have grandkids. But really,
I would like to keep it out of the residential section because we were very adamant that these are specific,
to C1.
to C1.
So if it's gonna be, then I would put it just before we go to industrial then. That's commercial right here, is it not? Business and commercial, it says. Section 3. So section 3, we could download R. We're listed as R. If that's what you...
Well, we're not making any motions or voting.
No
on
motions,
anything.
just
This
to make
discussion
sure
of
that
what-
this is...
Do you think, based on what we did in defining a tourist dwelling, that this is, that this needs to be addressed specific to? My concern is the township is also picking up the entire parking section of the ordinance.
What are you picking up? Like you're going to review it?
Well, the the elected board is going to pick up and take up the entire parking section of the ordinance.
Of the zoning one?
Yes.
Well, we already have the zoning part, so the only thing they would do is they would have to come up with an enforcement act, if they do. But since we already have an ordinance that addresses parking, the Board of Trustees may not go down that road, and they may go to the municipal code for motor vehicles for parking violations. Because that's, if you don't have an actual parking violation piece, then you can actually go to the municipal code. And I've got a feeling.
You both would know more about what the board is or is not going to pick up. So, for right now, I think this is a good place to put it, if that's what we decide in February.
Yeah.
And vote on it. So,
Do we need to put a square footage requirement? I'm just asking
For?
You should have one. Do you have one already?
Well,
You're trying to instill this above and beyond the ordinance, like for tourist dwellings, parking area? I guess I'm not sure where you're
no,
going with this,
no,
because
what we're doing is we're taking what is actually in the ordinance for tourist dwelling for parking, and we're making sure what's in the ordinance for tourist dwelling is actually in our parking ordinance. Because you can't just target tourist dwelling alone, you need to make sure that the parking ordinance that we have right now, and that's this, has tourist dwelling in it. So in having it in it, where it then states if it's 2 parking places per unit, is what we had said in our meeting when we passed tourist dwelling. All we're doing is we're transferring the verbiage from the ordinance of tourist dwelling to make sure that we have it in our parking ordinance. The zoning ordinance parking section, B1.
We created is it fair to say we created a separate category, tourist dwelling, that now should
You
be?
created a new use, and now that new use needs to be addressed needs to be added to the parking chart. That's pretty basic, that's pretty standard things that
Okay.
happen. And you've actually already decided what the parking space requirements are, if that got passed in the resolution that was done to amend the ordinance. So you're not making any decisions about amending an ordinance at this point, because it's already been approved.
Okay.
So we're just saying we need to add what we've already done into the document.
Correct.
Okay. We'll do that in February. Lastly, well, that's old business. New business. That was that section, and then the only other new business was to look at the meeting dates for 24, 25 year. I know I have, like, here, let me hand out this. Here you go. So this is what was voted on in December. Last February, it was voted on February 11th and March 14th. So that would be next month and the following month. And then it picks up from there for what was approved in December. My conflict is I'm going on February 11th. I'm not, you're more than, I'm just, it's the first meeting, it's the first meeting.
You're gone on, our meeting would be on the 8th of February. It'd be the second Thursday, which would be the 8th. And then, what was the other one you said?
I apologize, what did I write? I wrote February 11th on my copy, and I apologize, that's incorrect. So I am gone. In order for me to be present for February's meeting, we would have to kick it to the 22nd. Again, we don't have, as a body, we don't have to accommodate any of that, but if Gary was not excited about the first meeting, running it.
No, that's okay. I would make a motion to move the meeting. There's no reason we can't. We have plenty
I would
of
second
time to
that.
get it posted. So this would be the PC on the 22nd of February at 7 p.m.
Correct. You're not here?
Sorry.
Well, I think you've answered the question on specific to that, if anything comes up between now and then.
And I'm sure between now and then, there will be a lot of stuff that will be worked on. So it will actually be a work in progress at that time, not completed. So I don't think that would hurt.
that's for next month, correct?
That is for next month. Then the next conflict for me, again, we don't have to address it. It's October 10th. I would need to move it to the 3rd.
Well, I would agree with that. That means I don't have to go to a meeting on my birthday. Because I did last.
Again, we don't have, but
You want to move it to what date again? Just so.
it would be the first Thursday, which is October 3rd. Again,
Rosh
just making you
Hashanah.
aware that
I would make a motion that the October meeting would be moved to the 3rd at 7 PM.
Second,
Okay.
all in favor? Aye. My only other concern is November 14th, one day before
Deer season?
deer season, done. Would you like to move that one way or the other?
Does not matter to me, because I'll be gone regardless.
Would you be
wanna
gone
go-
on November 7th, the week before?
That's fine.
Okay. So I would like to make a motion to not have, to move the meeting from November 14th, pull it forward one week to November 7th, to give us the best chance of the full board.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I have one, I won't be here April 11th, but if it's okay, but I will be out of town.
Let's try it out.
April 11th.
Make a motion that we move it to the April one week back to the 18th. Give us the best shot of a quorum.
On April what?
I'll second.
1 week back to April 18th. Sorry, we have a,
I second
I made
it.
the motion, Charlie seconded it, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
So can I just double check on these dates, just
Sure.
to be sure? February 22nd,
Correct.
April 18th, October 3rd, and November 7th.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
7th of April.
February 22nd,
Yep.
April 18th,
Yep.
October 3rd, and November 7th. All of them at 7 PM.
Yep.
Okay, new business is closed. Any correspondence for the month?
We do have a building report, or no, we have we got a building report and,
That's down at 10.
oh, I'm sorry, no, apologize.
Okay.
Although whoever's going to do the agenda from now on, there's no 11 in here, so get 11 back in here. It hasn't
Sure.
been for months.
Oh.
so.
Can we talk about that for just a second?
Oh, he's gonna talk about that, maybe he's
Can we
got
talk
thoughts.
about that for a second?
About number 11?
No, agenda.
Oh, okay,
I'm-
no
I'm-
correspondence.
I'm kind of confused because it's the secretary's responsibility, and I was doing it, and then all of a sudden Melissa's doing it. And the question is, who's doing it?
It's my responsibility to put it together. It's your, as treasurer, responsibility to put board packages together. So that includes the ancillary data and any applications,
And the agenda.
the agenda.
You hand me an agenda.
Correct.
Which I print, and then I get it to Melissa, she posts it, and I make sure Shirley knows what's going on, because that just works best. It was just a question that was popped up this week, because there seemed to be a little bit of confusion about agenda, and I know we're in a transition, so it's not an issue.
No, that's a good question. I believe that Rick previously gave Melissa the items to do, she had a template, and Rick would give her new business, old business, to add into the agenda and post. Going forward, I'll do it, and I'll send it to you.
I'll get them all printed off here, and I'll print whatever support you need to make it be.
Yeah, and we can talk about that at next, under new
Yep,
business, of
no
what
problem.
the meetings will look like, going forward regarding board packages. And
Yeah.
much like the elected board, the last minute agendas, the last minute packages, to come in here and look at a project with a set of prints on the night of the meeting is not acceptable. And getting, in my opinion, having the agenda posted 48 hours, 48 hours is not acceptable either.
Yeah.
As a fair to township residents to review that
most of the things that you see before you, other than the agenda sheet, I already had printed. So people could have actually picked them up. Actually, it could have been done a week ago, because I had it printed for the regular trustees meeting, parking fees.
Okay,
Thank you.
yeah, no problem. Moving on, zoning administrator's report. Was this covered in the most recent board meeting that you're comfortable talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, can you
I mean,
summarize?
does anybody have any questions about what's in front of them? No. Because actually, I gave everybody a copy but me.
The second page would just be the permits that are
Yeah.
pulled, so specific to zoning would just be,
Yeah. Well, we had talked about the vehicle, trying to get this vehicle moved over at Judy's Pie. Nobody's got a title to it. So Judy's Pie doesn't want to move it because then they're breaking the law. It's been sitting there. It's basically an abandoned vehicle, so it should have already been moved. You know, law enforcement should have actually moved. Should citation been written, it should have been pulled out because it's abandoned. It's been there for years, literally 3. Before COVID, it was parked there. And so, hopefully, they can get either A, a record company to move it, or B, have the police cite it and just get it gone. The other,
specifically, does anyone have any interest or concerns on any of the other items that they want a detailed explanation of? Fair enough.
what is the Jose Road though? Does anybody on this board know anything about the mobile home park on Jose Road?
Do you?
I do.
Would you like to share based on your,
Absolutely. Property up for sale. This is what I know about it. I know about it from the posting and from hearing other people talk about it. According to the posting, it says that the plans are already here for the township board. I'm not privy to that. I don't know if any of you are. But the plans were already submitted to the township to do this big development of a mobile home park. It would be behind Village Towing. On some land back there, they say that all of the
That's 27
utilities are all
acres.
set up and everything, and they're trying to unload the property. So I found it interesting when I found the poorly spelled listing that said, it's already been through the township. No, interesting. That's an interesting selling point.
thank you.
The little bit I know about it, the DEQ shut them down, wetlands. That's what I know on the property.
And they're trying to sell it for 200-some-thousand. People are looking at it. I mean, it's listed, so I have no idea.
Because
how that works.
that Land Division Act, it would have had to go through us first.
Mhm.
Because I know Joan called me and we had a 3-hour conversation about land division.
Well, a park wouldn't be even a land division, it would be a use. You don't own it, you're
This
not
says
owning
something
it.
about land division, and that would have to go to us first, then to the normal board, then it goes to the county, then it goes to the state, then it comes back from the state, and then it comes back to the board of trustees. At which point, it's roughly, that's why the Sequin property only did the land division of the front 3 acres and not the back half for the cul-de-sac and everything, because of the amount of time that would take.
Okay.
So that, well, it's either dead in the water or they buy a piece of land somewhere else and give it to the DEQ. That's the rules.
Okay, moving on, public comment, 3 minutes.
Brad Eddy, I think if you guys turned around and looked at the map, that is a mobile home park on Jose already in your zoning ordinance. That you
That's
guys,
the green.
That's the green. So I do remember what Donna just said, the DEQ did shut them down, but if you guys were to look on Zillow, it even has all of the park, you know, where the mobile homes will be parked and everything, so. You know, I do recall this because it was going to help a family I'm related to out financially. I mean, to have that many mobile homes be able to be moved in, I think it's a good use of the property, to be honest with you. But I'm just telling you, is if you did look on even the Bay County GIS, that is a mobile home park in the GIS. So, and right if you turn around, I think R4 is where it says manufactured home park. So,
Because there's the one out by 8 Mile, and then the same color popped up there, and then I turned and looked.
yeah, correct. And you can see at Warren Mears next to Pines, truck accessories, that is also the same color. So, just so you guys are aware, I know you guys sat here making these, you know, master plan, but right behind you it does show that. So, just wanted to commend you guys on how you guys ran the board tonight. Okay.
Thank you.
Cameron, thanks. I just want to kind of reiterate what Eddie said. This is probably the most productive meeting I've sat here in, and I've been to probably the last 10 or so of these for every one of the meetings that go on. We may never see eye to eye on some of this stuff when us come and talk to you guys, but we do appreciate that it does seem like you guys are here listening, and you're seeming to want to let us talk and not quite get shutouts down like some other people were. So I appreciate it. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Lori DeShano. Do you want my address? You
Yeah.
got it, sure. Really? Wow,
Where do
that
you live?
is. 1795 South Huron Road. Okay, so I wanted to talk about a couple of things. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the short-term rentals. I agree with you that it's a slippery slope. There's been a lot of litigation in this. I get that. The problem that I have, and kind of something akin to what Don was saying, we have zero control right now. We have zero consistency with short-term rentals. We don't even know where they all are. And it's causing problems between neighbors. And if you take that to the next step, we have no controls over commercial operations on residential property, because that's what's happening. They are operating commercially on residential property. And I realize that that's not a comfortable thing, but it needs to be consistent, however it's going to be approached. So then you start thinking about things like commercial properties. Well, according to what I've been shown for a trash ordinance, commercial properties are not supposed to have any trash pickup in the ordinance from 1987. We're not supposed to have any trash pickup, and yet we have it all over the place. So how do we look at that when we're looking at short-term rentals? Are they commercial? Are they residential? Can they just be in the middle of a residential neighborhood? These are the things we need to look at. So we don't necessarily need a 20-page ordinance on short-term rentals, but we need to have some basic guidelines if we're going to allow them in, what they have to follow through with. In addition to that, I like the idea of some type of licensing, not as another grift on the people, but so that we do know what's happening, so that we do have the fire marshal making sure everything is up to snuff. I think that's important, especially if people are going to be in and out of these homes or rooms in homes. And how many units are we allowing in each of these? That's another question. If we're going to be looking at trash pickup, again, how many units is it? At what point does it go to the next level and need to have other things like a dumpster required versus a bunch of trash cans? We need to be looking at this for that purpose. I'm not thinking that we need to look at this for, bringing on litigation. I think we've already danced with that enough. But we do need to have a little bit of control put in place, and so we're staying on top of it. If you have any kind of a residential rental, I know personally, I have to have it inspected. I have to pay for a permit. They come in, they check it out, they make sure everything's okay. That's very normal. I don't think it's any different when it's short term. I think that needs to be something that's looked at. So just wanted to put that aspect out there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Patrick, is the junkyard gonna be still put on the February 22nd meeting in new business?
Discussion of definitions.
Yeah, because I just wanted to make sure, because Jen said she wasn't gonna be here. Is that correct? So that her and Gary could possibly work on what they can get together with what he's looked into?
Yeah.
So the edits
Rick
can
told,
be here?
yeah, Rick told you that it would be on today's agenda, so we're gonna honor that, and we will look at the definitions in February, when they changed. I mean, Gary's going to present.
I just wanted to make sure
When
she
they-
wasn't gonna be here.
Yeah, when they
Sorry.
changed. Any additional public comment? Public comment closed. Next meeting, February 22nd, we agreed on, moving the meeting from the 8th to the 22nd. Make a motion to adjourn at 8:25.
Second.
All in favor? Approved.
Right.
Thank you, everybody.